back to the Short Vol Show live, coming to you live from Cape Cod, Massachusetts, home of the Pilgrims, and we don't want to make Edward sad. Edward, that is, of course, the theme music from the show Morse, which was on British television for a long time, obviously followed by the show Lewis, and then after that, the show Endeavor, of course, Endeavor being the fictional character Morse's middle name. Welcome back from Cape Cod, home of the Pilgrims, and I'm not sure if I'm supposed to be wearing a mask or not. Are masks over? I guess masks are pretty much over. Regardless, there's nobody really in front of me. Actually, you're in front of me. So let's see, what do we have? We did have a Friday was pretty much of a vol upward event, but as happens often on weekends, over the weekend things kind of dissipated and everybody was able to calm down. Let's take a look at the market over the weekend. So we can see here on Friday the sell-off we had. We're looking at E-minis as a representing the market here. We see the sell-off on Friday, and actually the later days of the week. Last week we had a sell-off, which, you know, when you're looking at a VIX event, you're going to look to where it derives from, which is usually the S&P 500 or the general market selling off. And we can see that happening. And then we see, cooler heads prevailed over the weekend, and it's almost a mirror image of, this Friday and then this end of the day Sunday sell-off when we reopened. We're right back to that level, that 4,200 level that we sold off from on Friday. So a little bit of a turnaround there. If we take a look at the VIX, we can see we did get a pop here upwards around 2182. And when I look at UVXY, I think back to the show I did, the Volatility View show, a couple weeks ago, and we were talking about breaking through 30. And since then, really, we haven't done a whole lot, right? Yes, we are decaying all the time. We are in contango, so that's helping us decay all the time. However, the VIX has made somewhat of a move up. Let's back this out a little bit to get a little more perspective. And we can see, it basically the down move we've had. We had a little pop. We don't know if we'll continue to move down. Are we off of the COVID spike? Are we in a new realm now? Or will we continue to move lower off that spike? I suppose I could center my screen a little bit better here. Let's see if we can make this. There we go. Is this a continuation of that move down from COVID? You can see here, there's that first spike. Are we coming off of this move down here? Are we going to go sideways from here? Are we going to pop up from here? We still can't tell yet. We'll need a little bit more time. But certainly the amazing down move in UVXY, VXX has, at least for the moment, stalled out. I don't know if that's just going to be a slight blip. If you look at it on these charts here, it really kind of looks like we're continuing the down move, right? There's no... it's flattened out a little bit how much it's moving down, but we still continue to be moving down depending on which chart you look at. Let's go, though, to our VIX Central, and we will look at the VIX term structure. And we can see from the VIX term structure that, well, if we looked at this yesterday, you would see contango was around 5%. We're back. We've built back up to about 7% contango, which is, that's not what I wanted to do, which is kind of around where we've been lately. Let me get out of the way here. Why don't I move over? Move over here somewhere. We can see 7% contango right now, and a fairly healthy curve, although it has flattened out a little bit. Is this destined to continue? Certainly, there were some opportunities to get short the VIX recently with these pops up. Let's close up on, let's look at, say, a 20-day chart, and we can see the pop. And I'm going to move myself back over here. We can see the pop right here. And really, if we look back to like the 8th of June, we've really made no ground since then. And that's the first time in a little while where we haven't had just the precipitous down move. And I expect that we will move lower at some point. But if you had shorted things here, you would have really gone nowhere since then. Seemed like a good opportunity here to kind of short things. And we could look at this chart, or we could look at VXX. It's pretty much the same thing here. Remember, UVXY is a 1.5 times leverage product, so you're going to get a little extra decay over time due to this what we call beta drift, or just the leveraging. Every time a day resets in UVXY, they have to, because of the goals of this ETP, they have to adjust for the leveraging. It's 1.5 times leverage, and that over time will tend to decay this faster than VXX. Now, it's kind of a trade-off which one you want to trade. VXX seems sometimes to be more liquid, so UVXY is going to decay at a faster rate, but it might be less liquid than VXX. So it's a trade-off. Do you want more liquidity or do you want more decay? And we kind of had this discussion in Volatility Views where Mark Sebastian was saying, no, definitely UVXY. I want that extra bang, that extra decay. With me saying, well, VXX is easier to trade. Maybe I'll stick with that one. But it really doesn't matter as far as a strategy for shorting these things. But, we have come off the lows quite a bit, and we got down to about 16 in the VIX, but I could certainly make a case for the VIX staying in a range of, let's say, 15 to 20 for a while. And again, on the other hand, it's not completely out of the question that we move back to that old range that we had before of 12 to 14. If we look at the VIX 2017, when we were at sort of all-time lows. Now, all-time is a little deceptive since the VIX has really only been around since the 90s. But if we look at this period, it's not showing 3. Let's see if we can get 5 years here. Customize time frame. 5 years. You can see this was that period in 2017 where we were down, below 10 at times. Do we go back to a range like this, or do we stay in a range, 15 to 20 type thing? Well, it's still, to me, we still haven't made the clear case that we're off of this down move from the COVID thing. So, yeah, we got a pop, but it's not clear to me that we've sort of quote-unquote bottomed on the VIX here. Now, remember, when we talk about VIX ETPs like UVXY and VXX, there's never a bottom on those. Those are always, mathematically, we're always moving lower on those. However, the VIX, there certainly are sort of low points on. We can see this all-time low of 856 here. And we had a period, in this period right here where we were kind of hanging out above 20. We have moved a little bit lower, but, you can't, it's not real clear that, like, we've reached a bottom here in the VIX. Yeah, we've popped off the low a little bit, but it's not clear that we've made, that we really turned the page off of this coming off of COVID era. So we'll have to wait and see for that to happen. In the meantime, let's go to our buddy GameStop, and this is where people get mad at me because there's a lot of people long this and they don't want to hear from someone who's short it. However, I'm going to give my opinion nonetheless. Here's the chart, a very interesting chart. You could say from this chart here, looking at this time frame, that it's still a very bullish chart, right? We seem to be on an upward trend. However, if we were to zoom in a little bit, it doesn't look like so much. You could certainly make a case that we've been in a downtrend since earnings came out. It seems like every attempted rally kind of has failed since earnings came out, right? And we had news today that popped this stock. It was trading around 200, and all of a sudden we popped 20 points. Now it's up 15 points, but let's take a look at the news. They announced on earnings a few weeks ago that they were going to sell another $1 billion worth of stock, or they said they were going to sell some shares. And at the time, you remember I was saying, well, this is great for this is good for the company, of course, because raising money is it buys you time to put your plans in place. If you've got money in the bank, think of it as a person. You got money in the bank, even if you're not making money, having money in the bank buys you time. And so, certainly a good thing that they were able to do this offering and sell the stock up at this, still very juicy level. My thoughts on this was that they were aggressively selling stock up here because there certainly is the chance that we could dip lower than here. Remember where we came from on this issue. We came from, $10, the sort of $10 range. If we back up the stock here to 3 years, $4, up 16 here, 19, but certainly we're at a high level here. And I've had a short on for a while, of course. Fortunately, I kind of got lucky yesterday that I covered my short. If you look at my position here, I was long the July 200 190 put spread that got me short, and yesterday I did sell the 150 160 against it to pretty much flatten out. So now I just have this sort of condor on with a bullseye of, well, around 180, let's say. So if I just left the position, we have 31 days. If on expiration 31 days from now, the stock's between 190 and 160, then that's the maximum profitability for me. If it's outside that range, then I will lose whatever this condor is worth. If we were to look just at my P&L for a second here, if I pull that down, we can see, all right, so it says option buying power 2,000, net liquidity 3,800. So if we subtract these two, we're going to get $1,700. So essentially what that means is that if I did nothing with the position, if the stock was outside of that range, outside of between 200 and 150, if it was above 200 or below 150, then I would lose that $1,700. If it stays within this range here, then I would make, let's see, 200 from 200 to 190 is 10 points times 6 is $6,000 here, and then here, well, you get the point. It would be a decent deal here, depending on what I'd paid for this minus the strikes, right? So, essentially the bullseye is right in the middle here. Unfortunately, like I said yesterday, I did sell this to flatten out because then when we popped back up 15 points, I don't really get hurt to the upside. If we look at my delta here, it shows me short. Move this chart around again. If we look at the delta here, it shows me short 0.85 delta. So pretty flat, collecting a little decay every day. So that's cool. And in my mind, we are in a downtrend now until we break it. Certainly, if you look at the expanded chart like here, we're still in an uptrend. But if you close up a little bit and go into like a 20-day chart, you can see we really haven't been able to sustain a rally since earnings. That could certainly change. I don't know the future any more than anybody else does, but this is kind of like what I'm thinking about right now. And my thoughts are I'm looking to maybe buy back the put spread I sold. We were trading around 199 when I sold the put spread yesterday. Now with the stock up back above 214, I might try to buy that back in for a profit and get short again up here. We will have to see. Certainly, we were higher than here earlier today. I think we got up to about 221. Oh, here we go, 223. And yes, we popped on the news. It makes sense that we would pop on the news that they completed the offering, because remember, when a company is offering shares, well, obviously, if they actively need to sell shares, then part of the offer is them selling shares. And I think they said they were selling 6 million shares was the offering. They didn't say how much they were going to raise because they didn't know what prices they would be selling the shares at ahead of time, but they said they were going to sell 6 million shares. So now that they've sold their shares, they're no longer pushing the stock down by looking to sell shares. Thus, that's why the stock popped. But in my mind, a lot of people are long this and are long at different prices. And if every time we get a rally, people are looking to lighten up a little bit, in my opinion. Remember, a lot of people have bought this. Everybody who bought this above this price has lost money, and so as we move higher, people are looking to break even and get out. We'll see what happens. This certainly could turn around and move higher. I'm still very bearish on this, but your opinion and the way you trade is really up to you. My hope is that you get some idea of my thought process and my execution of doing stuff with this. So my next move in here, if we stay up here, would be to try to buy back this 50-60 put spread. I sold it at, I believe, $3.20. So I'd be looking to pay, $2.90 for it, maybe something like that. That's kind of where we are in that one. I don't have a position in the VIX products right now, but we'll have to see what happens. There's the culture war going on with politics, and we'll just have to see what happens with the broad market. As far as these meme stocks goes, obviously GME hasn't done so well lately, but AMC is still pretty high up there. Look at AMC. I mean, it's really it got up to 77, and it's been hanging in there and actually in more of an uptrend than GME. Now, this can't go on forever. In my opinion, this is another one there's a lot of hype. There's a hype premium in the stock price, right? So in my mind, there's the certain value of the stock plus this sort of hype premium where people are like, it's popular at the moment. And that is adding to the stock price. There's less shares available because it's just popular, as opposed to having fundamental reasons to be long this issue. Once again, this is like GME in that they've raised some money, and so if they use the money wisely, maybe they can help to turn their company around. Maybe they can gain market share as far as the movie business goes. Most people would agree that the movie business is in decline as far as at least going out to theaters. It seems like there's not that many huge movie stars anymore like there used to be. There's the Brad Pitts and the George Clooney's, and there's some A-listers, but certainly not as much as it used to be. And people consume media, obviously streaming more. The world of the Game of Throneses and the streaming shows being king has kind of taken over the movies. The latest big streaming one that I was watching was Mayor of Easttown, and certainly there's a lull in stuff to consume right now due to COVID, but they're, I'm sure, making shows right now to fill that void. I hope everybody is doing well. It's nice to see you. Nice to see you, Edward and others. And I wish the best for you this week moving forward. We'll see where does GME go to on this downtrend before it forms a base and starts to move higher again. What is your guess? I feel my guess is that it goes below, significantly below 200, but we'll just have to wait and see. And that's what I have for you today. Please talk to us about Bitcoin. I'm not a Bitcoin expert at all. Obviously, the cryptos have sold off a lot. I like to look at Gemini. We've seen, I like to call it doggy coin, but however you want to pronounce it, we've seen a sell-off in that one. If we look quickly at crypto, I don't want to talk and just make stuff up. You know, I know about the VIX and stuff, but I'm certainly no expert in crypto. You know, many of my followers have tried to talk me into buying crypto over the months, weeks, and years, and certainly if I listened to them, I would have more money than I do now. But currently, we're on a little bit of a downtrend here, obviously, right? You can see Bitcoin here, and I call it doggy coin, but down to 17 cents. You know, that did get up, I think it got up to 70 cents, but Bitcoin below 30,000 now, and we'll see where it goes from there. But I do not know how to value these, so I don't have much of a comment on them. I wish the best for people that are trading them, but I stay away from them just because I don't understand them very well. I certainly can buy into the concept of Bitcoin and decentralizing control in the world of whatever. But my problem with it is just, why should Bitcoin be worth so much more than some other coin that has a similar formula to it? Like, I like the idea of the concept. I just don't understand the value of the actual coin as opposed to the value of the actual concept. So that's kind of where I am with that one. But we'll see what happens. I've been wrong many a time before on the whole Bitcoin thing, and so I'm not the best person to talk to about that one. Anyway, all right, well, thanks for watching today, and I will see you next time on the Short Vol Show Live. I appreciate everybody's support. Please just click the like button, would really help. Subscribing would be awesome. Joining would be even better, and I have Patreon for those who wish to support me. Thank you, Edward. Nice to see you. And thanks everybody else for watching. We'll see you next time on the Short Vol Show Live. Bye-bye now.